Hola y bienvenidos. I am Román Reyes, your host for this program we call El Arte que nos impulsa. That is art that inspires us. Brought to you by Arizona Barrio Stories and Latino USA TV and Media. Today we have a fantastic guest. I mean, you got to stay on your seats for this one. She is a dynamo. I have to read because she is so fantastic. Let me read it to you. Cano-Murillo is the founder of CraftyChica. CraftyChica. She is a former syndicated newspaper columnist and now a full-time creativepreneur. Creativepreneur, a new word. And has authored a dozen books, including 2 novels and the bestseller, Forever Frida. She is a seasoned speaker and storyteller. Her CraftyChica designs have been sold on HSN, at Barnes & Noble, Michaels, and hundreds of pottery, craft, and fabric shops throughout the country. Introduce yourself.
Oh, hi, Román.
How you doing?
CraftyChica here. Excited to be with you.
People want to know, I mean, you're everywhere. And people want to know your background. Where did you come from? Where were you raised and so forth?
Well, I'm third generation Phoenician Mexican American, and my grandparents grew up here in Phoenix, in South Phoenix, 40th Street and Thomas, 13th Avenue and Sherman. And both families came from there and then ended up moving to North Phoenix. So my parents bought their first house and like around the Metro Center area. I went to Cortez High School. So it was a blending of learning to assimilate into a new area around North Phoenix, but still staying anchored to culture from my family.
Well, you know, when we first came to Phoenix, we lived on 11th Avenue in Sherman.
Oh, yeah. So you probably right by my Nana Cano.
Yeah, and then we also lived in Maryvale. So yeah, cool. Now let's look at some of these pictures here. This in particular here, what's happening here?
So this is my parents. They were married for almost 50 years.
Oh, wow.
And they both have passed on. Now they're my ancestors, but they were an infusion of creativity, a combination of creativity and discipline. Oh, wow. And so they taught me a very strong work ethic and mostly just, staying focused on the things that I wanted to achieve in my life, whether I was a little kid or a grown up.
I like this one.
So I laugh at this picture because now I do content creation and it's all about being big when you're in front of the camera. And I'm like, okay, I was doing that back in the day. No. So just having that little bit of drama going on.
No, this reminds me of All Alone.
Yeah.
Look at this smart-looking young lady.
This was the first skirt I ever sewed. This was in home ec class at I believe not Cortez. I think it was Cactus Rand Elementary when they made us take home economics.
Home economics, yeah.
And I was so proud of that skirt because we had a little fashion show and I was able to wear it. But that was really one of the first times where I thought I really love making things and creating things from just a piece of fabric to turn it into something wearable and fun. So that really inspired a lot of creativity to come.
Oh, that's fantastic. Who's this?
Well, when I launched CraftyChica, this was in 2001. I was working at the newspaper. I was a craft columnist, movie columnist, and I launched CraftyChica.com as a way to represent the Latina community in crafting because
nobody was doing it.
$43 billion, but there was no representation. So a friend of mine who worked at the paper with me, I said, will you draw up a logo for me? And she just whipped up this little logo. And I look back to that version of myself when I did not know anything about building a website, building a brand, but I just went for it. I pieced it together. I used resources. I asked for help, having no idea what it would evolve into. So this is the first logo that I had.
Oh, that's fantastic. Let's see.
And this is my days at the newspaper. By day, I worked as an entertainment reporter, covering arts, entertainment, music. and crafting.
And craft.
And then by night, after the kids were in bed and the dishes were done, that's when I worked on my website.
Well, that's fantastic because I used to be art director at Paddock Pools, but they used to have a retail store. And I used to go through there and I looked through everything and said, now what can I produce that I can sell here?
Yes, yes, exactly. And that was a hard lesson I had to learn because in the early days, my husband and I, we would mass produce everything. We wanted to be full-time artists, but we didn't know how to build a business plan.
Right.
We had huge orders, like 300 pieces at a time, and we had to shut that part of our business down. And that's when I went to work at the paper because I realized if I ever work with big national clients again, I'm going to do it different. I'm going to do it much smarter.
Right.
And, fast forward to now, I figured it out and learned how to do that.
Yeah.
And this was a picture when I was building my CraftyChica brand and learning about the importance of storytelling through pictures, through everything, relaying something that people would want to say, I want to know more about that. So this picture, I staged it to where it has a quilt behind me that I made, and then I'm showing how to embroider so that people could look at it and understand what my brand was about.
Well, this is fantastic information. If you're listening, especially you up and coming artists, keep a good ear on this.
And this is one of my fabric collections. So I talked about learning how to scale up. I learned how to create a library of designs and then use them to create things like wrapping paper, fabric, greeting cards, journals, all of those. So this is one of my fabric collections.
Oh, that's nice. Well, the way I do it is on my computer, I have a folder, and when I have a job or something, I start putting stuff in there that's going to get me excited and get me the creative juices going. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah, and this is when I was on HSN. So I also designed craft products, scrapbook paper, cling stamps, and I work with different companies. So HSN has been a wonderful partner for me to go on and sell my designs for
Have you been on Forbes also?
Yes, I was featured in Forbes two times for building my craft business. One of them was more like a second act story because I had left my job as a full-time newspaper columnist to launch CraftyChica.
Were you scared?
I was excited. I knew it was there's stages in life when you just know when it is the end of a chapter and it's time to go on to something new. And if you do not honor that feeling, you will keep getting reminded of it. And that's what happened at the newspaper was I just kept getting reminders, and they're not happy reminders. They are hard lessons that it is time to exit and evolve to the next journey of what you're supposed to do. So it was scary, but it was also exciting.
I get the image of being at the bar going, I should have, I would have, I should have.
And see, that's one thing I never like to say, I should have. I just go for it and figure it out. If it doesn't work, I know I can cross it off my list and try something else.
Good.
And this is from Google. I've always used Google products to build my website and to promote it on all different platforms. And Google, they sent me a message one day. They go, we love how you're using all of our products. Wow. And they ended up featuring me in their Google Economic Impact Report. In 2023, they chose different entrepreneurs from around the country. And I was one of them. So I went out to their headquarters several times, and they took pictures, learned my story, and featured it on their Google for Publishers site.
That's amazing.
And it just shows the arc of the journey of starting off at our house on a little tiny house on 40th Street in McDowell, where we were hand painting 300 flower pots for Bloomingdale's, and then to learn how to scale it to where I could use technology as a way to help amplify my business.
Wow. I also lived on 32nd Street in McDowell.
Oh, yeah, it's a fun area. More fabric. So more fabric designs.
Now, how did you go about doing the fabric?
Well, I use Procreate on my iPad, and what I do is I create a whole library of florals, hearts, people, faces, coffee cups, and I I'm able to mix and match them.
Right.
So when a client
For all
will
your
tell
products,
me,
yeah.
we want a fabric collection of the Southwest, I have a whole folder of all
Right.
cacti, of flowers,
Folders,
of sunsets.
yeah.
So I can pull together
Right.
and create something new for each collection.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And this is another one from Google when they came in. That's in my art studio in Phoenix.
Wow.
And this is a current project that I have been working on for about a year. It's called Storytelling Stamping. And I created this art exchange as a way to honor that one-on-one with people because I make stuff alone in my studio, put it out in a store to sell. I design it, it goes in the store to sell. I miss that one-on-one connection.
Right.
So what I did was I carved 70 stamps from erasers. Each one has a little motif, and I journaled
From
a
erasers.
meaning
Oh my God.
for each one.
Wow.
And so what I do is I bring it, people use the stamps and create a collage on a little postcard.
Right.
And then they come sit down with me and I tell them the story based on the stamps that they chose. And I've seen people have cried. We both have cried. People laugh. You're tapping into your subconscious. Like, I had no idea the depth that this project would have. I just thought it would be a fun art exchange. But people tell me, I want to use this with my therapy clients. I want to use this as a teacher with my students.
Right.
So I have been doing this around the country for the past year at different events and different, parties, community events. I just did the Desert Botanical Garden for 2 days last weekend. I did Los Angeles at a gallery out there called Mi Vida Gallery. So it's something that is really special, and I just hope to keep growing it and doing it.
Well, I'm keeping an eye on you. I'm learning a lot too, and I'm a lot older than you are. So, what do you see in the near future for you?
Well, I call myself a hyper creative.
Yes, you are.
So I just always want to keep learning and evolving. I never want to just get stagnant in the same place. I want to keep learn. I want to have that wow factor. Like everything I do and create, I think I want people to laugh, cry, or say wow.
There you go. Yeah.
And so that means writing meaningful stories, sharing things that, funny memories, creating art that people can relate to, meeting people where they are at, whether if it's stamping on a card or them buying a greeting card or reading a novel. I just love to be present in my life journey right now and have the experience of exchanging this creativity with people.
Well, if you ever go public, I'm buying some stock.
Thank you.
Well, we're near the end now, and so is there anything you want to tell the young up and coming artist or just anybody? Because what you do is for everyone. Can you kind of relate on that?
Yes, I think that it's very important to spend some time focusing on scaling up your business. Develop a website that has everything there that shows what you can do. Make it easy for people to see your work, to find you, to know your story. Always include your story and not just all of the highlights. You have to include the struggles as well, because that's where our art comes
that's where
from.
you connect.
Yes.
Yes.
So just focus on that. Sometimes it's hard to step away from the art studio, but it's really good to also think of it as a business if it's something that you want to do full time.
All right. Well, hasn't this been wonderful? Thank you very much for tuning in, and we're going to have more artists appear here, and you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to enjoy it. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you for having
It was an
me.
honor having you here, and adios, and see you next time. Thank you.